Hi guys, it's Beth. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am so super excited to be part of Call Me Crafty Owl's Inspired Saturdays. So what this is each Saturday, Alicia has, most Saturdays anyway, she has a collaboration partner and they each pick a project that the other has made in the past and use it as an inspiration project and recreate it in kind of their own way. So the project of Alicia's that I picked, it's actually when I saw what she made when the video came out, I knew I wanted to recreate it because it was an awesome idea. And this was a project she did as part of my Crafty Christmas Collab 2020, and I believe it was her week 2 project. And it was a mini composition notebook that she had decorated and added a gift card holder on the inside. So not only was it, just a notebook that could be used as a notebook, but it was also a way to gift a gift card. And I thought that was just an awesome idea. Everybody's always looking for new ways to gift cards that, in something that can be used after, the gift card is done. So I knew right then that I had wanted to create it and just hadn't had a chance yet. So I decided to go ahead and use that as my inspiration project for today's project. So I am going to be making a mini composition notebook. Now hers was Christmas themed. Mine is not going to be Christmas themed. Mine is just going to be just kind of an everyday, it would be great for birthday gift cards or thank yous or, congratulations, graduation, anything like that. So I will show you what I'm going to be using real quick and then we will get into the project. So the supplies I'll be using to make my little notepad today are, this is My Mind's Eye paper pad. It's called the Best of My Mind's Eye. And I've had this in my stash for a while and I've kind of picked it apart a little bit and have tons of scrap pieces. So that's where my paper is coming from. I am using 2 sizes of score tape, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, or like it's over 1/4 inch, almost 1/2 inch, 1/8 inch, and then those are my paper pieces I've already cut. I have a stamp that I'm using. This is just stamps that I'm not sure who it's by. I had picked it up, I believe, at Michael's on clearance at one point, but the packaging tore, so I have, and then I am using just a little stamp cube that I have had in my stash for a while, and then the little mini composition notebook, and this one I picked up, it was in a pack at a thrift store. So that's what I'm going to be working with today. I have already pre-cut my pieces, but I will tell you the sizes. So this is the size, this is the piece that's going to wrap around my notebook, and it is 4.5 inches wide by 6 3/4 inches long, and it does wrap fully. I decided to go ahead and make mine so that it wraps fully around my notebook. And then I have a journal card that I cut down, so it is 3x4. I have 2 pieces to go on the inside covers of my notebooks, and they are 3 1/4 inches by 4.5 inches. And I have a piece that is going to be for my pocket that I do need to trim down, and then some flowers that I fussy cut out just to decorate it up a little bit. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with stamping my dream word onto the little label part of my little cut apart here. And I always practice, do one practice stamp before I actually stamp it onto whatever I'm stamping on, if I'm not using my MISTI, just to make sure it's going to stamp cleanly. And I like how that ink, it's like a brick red, and it ties in with one of the flowers on that floral pattern. So I'm using that pink polka dot paper that I trimmed down for the outside covers of my notebook. And again, this one is 4.5 inches by 6 3/4. And I am using score tape and putting it directly onto the little mini composition notebook, but I'm avoiding the spine area there just because I like to have a little give so that whenever you open up the notebook and, to write in it, that it's got a little give there on the spine. and doesn't tear. And I am using score tape instead of wet glue here just because it's a thinner paper. That my Mind's iPad, it is 180 sheet, so it is the thinner, you know, just a little bit heavier than copy paper weight kind of paper. And so I didn't want to use the wet glue and potentially have any bubbles or anything, or globs or bumps. So going with score tape here. So when I'm putting it on the notebook, I do start with the front cover and line it up with the very outside edge, score the front down, and then kind of fold it over the spine and then adhere it to the back part as well. And I do burnish it really well once I get it on. So I am going to come, there's just a very slight overhang on that back cover, so I'm going to trim that down real quick with some sharp scissors. And then I'm going to go ahead and apply the inside covers. And so again, I'm going to apply my score tape directly to the notebook. And I do burnish the score tape down as well, just to make sure everything's going to hold really well. And here I do put it up against the spine just because I don't want the paper getting in the way of the notebook pages, you know, opening and closing. I want to make sure it's stuck down really well there at the spine. So just make sure that I get it lined up really well and that it's up as far as I can get it to the spine edge there in the center, and then I come and repeat that process for the other inside cover. And this really did go very quickly, and if you're using thicker paper, you could use wet glue and it might go even quicker because you don't have to worry about putting the tape down and taking the backings off. But again, this was pretty thin paper, so. And I'm putting that other inside cover on and just burnishing it down really well. And then I'm going to come back in with my scissors just to trim up any overhang. And there should only be just a little bit of overhang. And then I'm using my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper, the corner rounder. And I'm using the 1/4 inch side just because I found if I used the 1/2 inch, that it rounded it too much and you could actually see the lined paper sticking up on the corners. So the 1/4 inch seemed to work pretty well. So my next step then is just to add that little journal card to the front of my notebook, and this time I'm adding the score tape directly to the back of the cut apart, and we'll be applying that towards the outside edge. I wanted it flush with the outside edge of the notebook. And so I'm just trying to make sure I line it up. And the bad thing with score tape is you don't have a lot of, you know, leeway of moving it around. So once I get it on, I do burnish it down, and I'm trying to figure out which flower I want to put on the outside and decide to wait. So for the inside pocket, I'm not doing a gusset. I'm just doing a flat pocket, and I cut my paper down to 3 inches by like almost 2 3/4. But the notebook itself is only 3 1/4 inches wide, so 3 inches is about as far as I can go. And I'm using the 1/8 inch score tape for this because I wanted more room for the gift card to be able to slide in and out. And then I'm also going to bring in my circle punch. This is just a 1 inch circle punch, and I always like to make a notch in my pockets. I just think it makes it look prettier, gives it a little more detail. Not necessarily since it's a shorter pocket, but it's just kind of a habit I've gotten into. So once I get the score tape pulled off, I can stick my pocket in. And like I said, I did go with a flat pocket just because the notebook doesn't want to stay closed very well anyway, and so I didn't want to add any extra dimension there. So now, again, trying to figure out which fussy cut flower I want to put where. I finally decided to go with the bigger one on the inside pocket, and because it's thinner paper, this is something I fussy cut out of one of the patterns of this pad, so it's still that thin paper. So rather than using my art glitter glue, I pull out my Zig 2-way glue pen, which is running out of glue, so I having to work pretty hard to get it to, add glue to the back of my paper at this point. So one other touch that I really liked that Alicia did with her project was she took a binder clip and decorated it and added it to the outside of the notebook. So I'm using a kind of medium-sized binder clip, and I'm cutting one of my scrap papers down to 2 inches by 1 1/4. And this was, I picked a medium one just because it was a non-black binder clip that I had in my stash. And I just thought the silver was a little prettier. And so I'm adding the larger score tape directly to the binder clip. And then I'm taking my scrap piece and sliding it down as far as I can under the little curl there of where the clip attaches, and then I'm burnishing it really well. I did not put tape on the very top part. And then on the back side, again, I adhere the paper down and then try and push it as far as I can underneath that curl. And here I use my scissors to try and push it in because it's what I had handy and my nails weren't cutting it. And so you'll see me kind of fuss with this for a minute, but a lot of the times it slides in pretty easily. So there is the pretty binder clip. And then you just add that to the front. Thank you, Alicia, so much for sharing this idea, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your Inspire Saturdays collaboration. This was a lot of fun. All of the products that I use will be linked below. Alicia's original project video will be linked below, as well as her project that was inspired by one of my projects. Thank you guys so much for your time today, and I hope you're all having a very crafty day.